Hello, is this Din?
Yeah, what's happening, man?
Hello, you alright? Alright, so we're MMA Unhinged.
Yeah,
I'm Lenny from MMA Unhinged. I'm joined by my colleague Josh from MMA Unhinged, and we thank you for the opportunity that you're giving us right now. And so yeah, we thank you very, very much, and hopefully this is not the first of many, and hopefully we have more interviews with you. It's a pleasure.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Alright, so I'm gonna let my colleague start the first question.
So, what's been your best moment in your career, like out all of it?
The best moment?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man! Like that's a tough one to call, but honestly, I think like in terms of like thinking back of all the feelings that I had, I think the feeling of beating Jens Pulver back in, and I hate to age myself here, but back in 2001 when I beat Jens Pulver, I think that was probably the best feeling that I've had, throughout the duration of my career.
So you're a coach at ATT, and you train a lot of elite fighters such as Jorge Masvidal, Douglas Lima, Dustin Poirier, Tyron Woodley, and Colby, and many more. So what's it like to be training them?
It's weird because those guys really train themselves. you get to experience being in the room with them at that elite level. Those guys, they get in and they put in work and they work really hard. Again, it's just a pleasure to experience that. So it's not like, you don't tell them guys what to do. They tell you what they're going to do and they do it. And you just get to experience it. So, sometimes I think, the coaches get maybe even a little bit too much credit, but at that level, those guys get in there and they get the work done on their own.
So what is the situation in American Top Team at the moment with Colby and Masvidal? Like, is there any tension going on? Because obviously we've heard like what's been going between both of them. So do you know anything that's like happened between them or?
Well, yeah, there's obviously a little bit of tension, but that's only when they're in there together. And that's not often because, those guys have, they're celebrities in the MMA world. So they have, a lot going on in their lives. So it's rare that they're in the gym together. But when they're in the gym together, everybody's aware of the tension. So we keep a lot of people in between the two.
So UFC London just got announced that it's relocating with Tyron Woodley, who you train, being a main event facing Leon Edwards. Is there any more in this situation? Is there any more that that has been where it's been relocated?
No, it's weird because I was supposed to leave. My original ticket was to leave Monday, tomorrow.
Would you come into England?
Yeah, I was supposed to leave. Yeah, I was coming to England. I could have just live with you guys, but I was supposed to leave tomorrow. Yeah. But they canceled my first flight, then they canceled another one, then apparently they canceled the whole show. Yeah. So, right now everything is up in the air. All I know is I have my bag packed, I have my passport ready to go, and I told Tyron, I said, man, listen, wherever you need me to be, whenever you need me to be there, I'm going to be there. Whether they try to push it to, well, obviously they can't do Vegas now, but who knows where they're going to, try to make this fight happen. But, it's weird because, like, nobody knows what's going on. I don't even know if they know what's going on. But you just have to be ready for these moments.
Yeah, this sucks for both of us as well because we were both scheduled to actually go to the event and go watch it. I was actually quite excited to go watch Tyron Woodley and Leon Edwards face each other. So I kind of hope best for the fighters and hopefully it gets sorted out. If it does get rescheduled, I hope they do fight because this is a very intriguing fight and I hope it does happen.
Yeah, I like Leon Edwards a lot. I think, after watching him fight, I said, man, this guy looks like a better version of what I would have been like if I fought in today's time, So I like watching him fight. I think he's got a great style. So for me, it was a pleasure. It was almost like I was training Tyron to beat me, like a better version of what I would be like. So, I was really looking forward to watching this fight happen. Hopefully it still goes down, but you never know with the current state of the world right now.
Are you kind of glad it's being relocated because of the threat of the virus going around, or would you not mind if it was still to be in London?
No, absolutely not. Like, I've been to London one time at the airport, at a layover, and I've been dying to go to London. Like, I was really looking forward to going to London. I was going to spend some time in Europe. I had postponed my return to come home just so I could go over to London. Then I was going to go over to Germany and hang out for a couple of days. But all that's been obviously altered due to what's going on right now in the world. It's weird that it's going on in the whole world is affected by this, which is weird to me.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the whole world's going on lockdown. I mean, we've got Italy, we've got America. See, schools in England haven't been shut yet, which is kind of like, there's been a lot of aggro and like people have like gone against our Prime Minister. So we'll see what happens. But I do believe they should get shut because, you know, the schools, there's quite a lot of people in the schools, and that's probably where the main case where it's going to pass on. So we'll carry on with the questions. So Jorge Masvidal versus Kamaru Guzman, apparently rumoured to fight at UFC 251 at International Fight Week. Do you believe that Jorge Masvidal is the next in line for the Guzman shot?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, there's a story behind that. Those two guys, you know, it really comes. I mean, there's a big story behind those two guys. There's a lot that you could market between this fight. Like Jorge Masvidal is actually the bigger star than Kamaru Usman. So the fact that, you know, you got the champ fighting the bigger star, that's a story. Like Jorge Masvidal's, you know, one of the top 2 MMA, you know, stars in the world today, him and Conor McGregor. So, you know, it makes sense to put Jorge in that position. And then not only that, but you also have the original rivalry between American Top Team and the Black Zillions. And the fact that, you know, Usman, you know, won the entire season. You know, he beat all of our guys in order to get to win the Tough 21. So, I mean, there's just a big story behind it. And I think that, you know, and Masvidal earned it. Like, he had the biggest year of any fighter last year. I mean, he's put himself in a position where he's finally due the credit that he's deserved for a long time. You know, if you know Jorge Masvidal the way I do, I've known him for 15 years, and I've always appreciated and respected his style of fighting. He's a great fighter, but he never really got the recognition until last year.
So you've had 36 pro MMA fights to your name. If you had to name one, what would be your favourite? Like, if you had to choose one fight.
One fight of, I'm sorry, what was the original question?
If you had, like, you've had 36 pro fights to your name, what would be your favourite fight, like, that you've had?
Oh, okay. Wow. Whew, that's a tough one. I've had so many good fights. You know, I think actually, probably my favorite one, really, if I had to name them all, if I had to pick one, would probably be UFC 33 against Fabiano Iha, because that was on my birthday. That was the very first UFC fight to take place in Las Vegas, and you know, it was a great night. You know, again, first time UFC was ever in Vegas, the very first sanctioned fight in Las Vegas history, and it was on my birthday, so it's a day that I'll never forget.
So you filmed Dana White looking for a fight alongside, obviously, Dana White and Matt Serra. What's it like to film with this pairing?
Oh God, yeah, it's surreal. sometimes you know, I'm so appreciative of the position that I'm in, that I have this job, because, you know, to hang out with Dana is like a job that anybody would want. I mean, he's the most powerful man in MMA, one of the most powerful men in sports and in all of, like, entertainment. So to be able to hang out with him on the level that we do is surreal. And the fact that, you know, we have this autonomy to do what we want when we're filming, because it's for TV. So they want us to do crazy stuff. So we're doing crazy stuff. We're hanging out with one of the most powerful men in the world. And, you know, it's a great time. And, you know, I don't spend any money while I'm doing it. So it's just a really good time. And I hope that it comes across that way when you guys get to watch it on TV.
Yeah. So when you are filming and you go to watch the fights, has there ever been a fighter who hasn't got the UFC contract who you maybe thought should have, or maybe has got good potential?
There's a lot of fighters that I think are right on the cusp. But the one thing that you got to understand is that, you know, when we're going to these local fights and looking at fighters, I mean, that's just what they are. A lot of them are up and coming fighters, and they're put in a position where they kind of have to perform right then and there. So it's almost unfair to them in a way, because, you know, sometimes, you know, they're very good fighters, but they don't perform the way they should. There was a kid, Felipe Douglas, who we filmed in Florida, who I thought could be fighting at the UFC level, but he didn't perform the way he should have, so he didn't get the opportunity to get a contract. And then there's some guys who might actually show up on fight day in front of Dana for looking for a fight and may not be deserving of it, you know. So it kind of goes both ways. But at the end of the day, it's always still a good opportunity to get in front of Dana and and all the people watching, because you might not get the contract right then and there, but at least you're on the radar.
Has there ever been a fighter that you've made personal contact with just to say, you're there, you'll just keep going, you'll be in the UFC one day?
Yeah, I mean, right after in fact, the show we did in Hawaii, there was a kid, Troy Lamson, and he fought Alex Garcia, I think, and he lost, and Alex got the contract. But Troy was a great fighter, and I said, man, listen, just keep doing what you're doing. I think you're a great fighter, and I'm sure you're going to make it one day. And there was in fact, there was a couple of kids when we shot in Mexico that still reach out to me. They had great fights. They're young and they're green and they're still working, but I still try to give them some encouragement to let them know that you're on the radar, and just keep doing what you're doing. Keep winning, and you're going to get there.
So obviously you and Matt Serra have fought in the past and you got a split decision victory over him. Is there any awkwardness on set, or is it just jokes between you now? Do you bring it up every so often?
Oh yeah. we joke about that every time we see each other. I mean, I got the tattoo on my arm that says, "Hey Matt, I won." But it's kind of a running joke because they raised his hand, they ended up giving me the win, but at the end of the day, man, Matt is one of my best friends, and I love him to death, and he was the world champ, and so anytime I say, "Hey, I won," he always has to throw that in my face that he was the world champ, and he's a Hall of Famer. So, but you know what? I love Matt to death, and I'm so happy that his career turned out the way it did. That we fought. I may have got the win, but he's had the better career. I mean, he's had an amazing career, and and I'm proud of him.
So heading back to that, Matt Serra always goes on the show that he won the fight between you two. He always goes, he won the fight. But you actually got the win. Do you think you earned the victory?
Yeah, I thought I did. I remember hearing the decision right afterwards, and they said, when they said his name, and I couldn't believe it because I did everything I trained to do. It was perfect for me. I didn't think I was going to finish him. I fought exactly the way I trained to do it, and I thought, and everything happened the way I thought it would happen. And when they said he won, I was baffled. I mean, it almost made me want to quit fighting. I mean, it really rubbed me the wrong way for a long time, and it made me want to quit fighting just because of that.
So, if you do Dana White looking for a fight, what's been your best moment on there, if you could pick one?
Oh God, there's been so many good moments. Probably the best moments, I can't talk about because they weren't filmed. But in terms of being filmed, the most memorable moment is obviously, I think, swimming with the sharks. And looking back on it, it was crazy, but because it's so memorable, I'm going to have to say it's probably the best because it's the one that's going to sit with me for the longest. Because I don't know if you've ever swam with sharks before.
No,
but it's different. It's different when you're not only swimming with them, but they're antagonizing these sharks by throwing meat in the water and slapping the water like dead seals. So these sharks are swimming around you, hungry and angry and looking to bite something. So yeah, that moment for me goes down in history as the scariest moment of my life, which is a good thing. I like to be scared because it takes me out of my comfort zone. So that's my best moment.
So obviously we were mentioning that you had a long career. Is there any point in that career maybe you regret?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I regret about my career. One is I started too early. I think it's the fighters today. At one point in my career, I was top 3 in the world. And I was working a job as a security, doing bouncing at a club. If you're top 3 in the world right now, you living pretty. You making money, you got a house, car. So I started too early. That's kind of a regret. If I was fighting now, top 3 in the world, I would have been, a bigger deal. And then just, a couple of fights that I had, I could admit that I didn't fight as hard as I should have. I just, back then the incentive to be the best in the world or to win wasn't what it is today. Back then it was let me just come back and fight again. So there are some fights that I felt like I could have fought harder, and I wish I did. Looking back, I sacrificed my integrity as a fighter by not fighting my best fight, and I regret that.
So you train a lot of top welterweights at your gym, and the division is looking stacked than ever at the moment. Who do you see holding the title at the end of the year, like in the welterweight division?
Hopefully Tyron Woodley. Hopefully we get past Leon, then get the winner of Masvidal and Guzman, and then hopefully they can do that fight on that New Year's Eve card, and Tyron win the belt to bring us into 2021.
Okay, since you said Tyron Woodley, do you reckon Jorge Masvidal might be offended, or maybe Colby might be offended because obviously you're a coach at ATT? It might look like you're kind of favouring Tyron. Do you reckon they'll get offended? Or
no, they're not going to be offended. Like, the thing is, when you're in the game for as long as I am, I'm friends with everybody, and they all kind of understand that. Like when Masvidal fought Ben Askren, like Ben is my boy. Like me and Ben hang out, and Masvidal knows that. So, but Masvidal's my boy, so it's all business in terms of that. Like when Masvidal was training, like I wouldn't be around. I say, hey man, listen, you gonna train? I'm leaving. I'll let you do your thing. And and he's cool with that. Like we still boys right now. So like, and they know that Tyron is my number one guy. So they're not offended by that. They understand where that lies, and that's just the business of it. Like that's the business. Like Tyron is my client. That's the business. But in terms of friends, we're all friends. I hang out with all them guys. Except maybe Colby. Me and Colby aren't really friends. But, on a business perspective, we respect each other.
So you said Woodley would be champ at the end of the year. Who do you see winning between Masvidal and Guzman then? So obviously, if Woodley did win against Edwards to face the winner.
That's a tough fight to call. It's hard. It's hard to pick against Guzman because I've never seen him lose a round. I've never seen it. Colby might have won a round or two from him, but Guzman doesn't lose rounds. But we see Masvidal, he used to be the king of losing close decisions. So it's hard. It's going to be hard for Masvidal. But what we've seen from Masvidal is that when he turns it on, nobody can really mess with him. And he's going to have to turn it on against Guzman, and he's very well capable of it. So it's hard for me to make a prediction, but I will say this. If Masvidal doesn't turn it on, he can't win that fight. If he does turn it on, he should win that fight.
All right, last question from us. If Woodley and Edwards would proceed to go ahead, who do you see winning that fight and how? Well,
it'd be stupid of me to say Edwards. I think, Woodley, obviously, we did a lot of studying on Edwards, and, Woodley's a professional. So, obviously, I'm saying Woodley. And how he wins, I think Woodley has the ability to knock him out or submit him. It just depends on the direction that the fight takes. But, I think Woodley finishes him. I think he gets it done within 3 rounds, to be honest with you. As long as Tyron's motivated, there's not a welterweight that can beat him. So, and you can see the difference in that. When he fought Guzman, he wasn't motivated. When he fought Darren Till, he was motivated. So, for me, it's like whenever I get a motivated Tyron, I think he's the best in the world. In this camp, he was very motivated. I mean, we secluded ourselves in Atlanta to train for this. So he's very motivated. He's very focused, and he's ready to fight. So I'm so happy with where he is right now.
All right, so one more question. You were mentioning that Woodley can knock him out or submit him, and Edwards is quite a well-rounded guy. Where would you want to see Tyron Woodley take the fight?
It's been a while since we've seen Woodley put somebody to sleep right away. So that's like Josh Koscheck style. I mean, obviously, I would love to see that, but again. I'm not greedy. We're not greedy. So wherever he can get it done, we're gonna try to get it done. Tyron's a very underrated fighter in terms of entire skill sets. So he's got submissions off of his back. And like it's rare to see him there. So people don't recognize that. So like he can get the fight done anywhere. I mean, we train to be anywhere.
Well, I think that's it from us. So we thank you for your time and the opportunity that you're giving us. And hopefully you put in a good word for us. So hopefully we can get an interview with Tyron Woodley, because that would be a dream.
Yeah. Hopefully I can too. Obviously after the fight, if things settle down a little bit, then I'll put in a good word, man. I thought you guys are great. I love you guys.
We love you too.
Thanks, man.
All right. See you in a bit. Thank you very much.
All right, fellas.
Bye.
Take it easy.